Now let's turn the page again. Let's talk about the ocean. There were people in social media that said, "Hey, there is a huge body of water out there. Why don't you use it?" Well, there is a commission regarding the ocean. They said no to using ocean water to fight fires inland. Oh, yes, more bureaucratic goodness. But this one I can agree with. Believe it or not, the ocean water can damage the pumps on the fire engines. I know you are going to say, "Hey, they have fireboats, and they use ocean water." Yes, they do. And when the fire is over, the larger fireboats have fresh water on board to flush the pump and the pipe system out. Now you are going to say, "Hey, they have pier and wharf fires. Why can they use ocean water for that?" Well, that is a different situation. The piers and wharf fires are self-contained in and around the ocean. Now let's get back to using fire engines pumping ocean water. If this idea was used, this would handle a small portion of the fire. It would take too many fire engines to actually push the water further inland. Now let's play what if. I love playing these games. Okay. What if they were able to push the ocean water further inland, and they used the water to fight a good portion of the wildland fire? The issue is not during the fire, it's after the fire. Using ocean water can sterilize the soil, and that's the problem. Sterilizing the soil means the grass and trees will not be able to grow for years to come. Some of you are saying, "So what? No grass, no trees in that area means no fires? What's wrong with that?" Well, the issue is, the root systems from the grass and trees alike will hold the soil back on the hillsides. No grass, no trees. When a heavy rain comes through, that means mudslides. Boom. There's the issue using ocean water, and that's why I can support this rule. So I have kicked the dead horse, made fun of the hippy dippies and the sunshine children of the corn. What would I do? Well, for starters, I would replace all the fire hydrants from wet barrel to dry barrel. Then I would place large water storage tanks above the neighborhoods but below the reservoirs. Then I would connect both systems into a Siamese WOIE. What this do? This would be a redundant system. If the reservoir failed, you still have tank water to use, or if the tanks ran dry during a heavy fire load, you still have the reservoir feeding the system. But if there is a heavy fire load, this tank system and the reservoir utilizing the Siamese, why each system can feed the water system at a slower volume range, but with the both, can equally fill the water system feeding the hydrants at the same water pressure. Fire departments use these in rural situations to feed a large diameter hose with using 2 fire apparatus, whether it is 2 water tankers or a fire engine, and a tanker in these situations. The Y is an indispensable item and can work in this situation. Now, the other thing I would implement immediately would be allowing residents to place water storage tanks on their properties and be able to capture rainwater off their roofs. The 2 stipulations I would put on these tanks: no less than 5,000 gallons, and the fire department has to have the ability to connect to these tanks. This will give the boots on the ground more options to adapt and overcome the situation. If every house just had one 5,000-gallon water tank, and there are 12 houses on a particular block, well, do the math. That's 60,000 gallons. Then add swimming pools to that also. Now you are talking possibly hundreds of thousands of gallons of water in just one neighborhood. Depending on the fire load, the fire department may not need to hook into the hydrants until last resort. I know. There are hippy dippies and the sunshine children of the corn saying, "No, you can't do that. All the rain is there to replenish the watershed." And I say, nope, you're wrong. All the rainwater that falls on streets are sent into stormwater drains and dumped right out into the ocean. So you're replenishing the watershed with that. That being said, can't the county or the state build a rainwater treatment plant? Instead of dumping rainwater out in the ocean, can't they divert the rainwater into a holding reservoir or various tanks for treatment, and then can't they replenish reservoirs with this water? It is a simple concept. The water will go through a screening process, capturing any solid waste, then send the water through a median filter, like sand, then send the water through a UV light treatment, and then an ozone treatment. 99% of the microbes and bacteria will be gone, then send the water to the reservoirs. There can be hundreds of thousands of gallons of water a week, maybe a month. Is it expensive? Yes, but overall, you can't put a price on more water for Southern California. Okay, now let's stay on this kick. More water options. LA County has 11. Yes, 11 wastewater treatment plants. They treat approximately 500,000 to 10 million gallons a day of wastewater. That's right. Poo water. After treatment is complete, what do you think they do with the treated water? Ooh, yes, they dump the treated water into the ocean. Come on. If you were all about Mother Earth, why aren't you capturing this water to reuse it? You guys would rather divert rivers or make dams. If they recaptured the treated water, that could potentially be 100 to 200 million gallons of water a day between all of the wastewater treatment plants. Even if they only captured 100 million gallons a day, by the end of the week, that is over 500 million gallons of water. The so-called sunshine children of the corn should have thought of this one. Now, if all the counties in Southern California implemented just the rainwater and wastewater recapture plan, you would have billions of gallons of water a day. And here's a thought. After treatment, you can also sell this water to refill Lake Mead and maybe other national reservoirs. That is some good federal government money going to the state to fund some of your socialist programs. Seriously, Californians need to do better. Now, implementing the water capture idea, then allowing the logging companies to harvest trees in the forests again, and to clear the deadfall in the forests, create hard covers over reservoirs, and keep the floating covers in the reservoirs. Now, if the reservoirs do need to be drained, then it's DWP's job to inform all departments of the reservoirs that are drained. The line of communications needs to get better. The homeowners need to keep smaller growing brush around their homes. Now, I know a lot of people are concerned about the brush clearing in the LA County area. This was actually done in the 90s, and it is effective in creating fire breaks. Also, when the brush is cleared, the soil needs to be worked to break up the hard pan, and then some grass seed needs to be put down. If there is a fire, and the fire moves through an area where there is no vegetation because the soil was worked and there is grass growing, the fire will not be as intense. There's just a lot of things that the government can do to help the people prepare for these fires. People need to take more personal responsibility for their own actions. I mean, look at the recent fire in Greece. People need to be more proactive. They need to clear the brush. They need to be ready. It's time to stop being so reactive. It's time to stop complaining and start doing. Get out there. Let's go to work. Let's fix this problem. It's our problem to solve. All of our problems to solve. We're all in this together. We're all Americans. We love our country. We want a better future. So let's work on it. I know you guys have a lot of good ideas. Put them into action. Stop sitting around, stop complaining, and let's fix this problem. Save California. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ultimately, it comes down to poor communications and planning. They had the mindset, this won't ever happen. Poor mindset to have. Since most of the wilderness in California is managed by the federal government, the feds need to allow the state to manage the land close to urban areas, mowing the wild grass down, clearing the deadfall and harvesting trees. I know. Typically agencies, whether it's federal, state, or local, they get pissy when other departments or agencies step on their toes. Well, they need to learn to work better with each other. If these agencies do get pissy, then just send them a pacifier. A big part of the problem is the lack of prescribed burns. Prescribed burns are good burns. They help the ecosystem. They clear out the underbrush. You can see the problem we have here in California. The grass is growing right up to the houses. It's just a matter of time before we get a fire. And when that fire happens, it's going to be really bad. So we need to be doing more prescribed burns. One last thing regarding the LA fire mechanics that were laid off. Couldn't the city work something out with the county to either bring those mechanics onto shift with the county or pay the county to repair the city fire apparatus? If the government was proactive, maybe they wouldn't have 15% of their fleet down. Now, if all of this was implemented, would everyone be disaster ready? I'm not saying this is a foolproof plan, but this will give the firefighters on the ground a better fighting chance and more operational options. But they would be far better off than what they are right now. People need to remember, you cannot count solely on the government to save you and your way of life. You have to do for you and your family or friends. That is the most important thing. If this was all implemented, then maybe, just maybe, the insurance companies may come back. That's a slim chance, but it is a chance. Is this a perfect plan? Probably not. Would all this work? Maybe, maybe not. I'm just coming up with possibilities to implement rather than just some person complaining on the internet. Let me know in the comments if this would work, or even if you have a better plan. The only stupid comment is no comment. Like, subscribe and catch you on another one.